You're watching the Tesla live with your host, Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 448 on the 28th of January 2026. With me, as always, my co-host, we have Mr. Casey Green, and he has a co-host as well from the Mid-Atlantic. How are you today, sir?
We're doing all right. Just you can take back your freezing weather now.
No, we're spreading it as far and wide as we can. So you get ready.
There's tariffs on these exports, Mark. You know how much Canada owes us for all this snow?
Right. And today she's going by Princess Baby Motoko, Princess Blue Angel Purple something Star.
Nice.
And that, of course, is Mr. Patrick Connor from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
Hello. I'm doing great. It's a lovely day here.
Yep, that's why he's wearing a blanket, because it's really lovely weather.
Yep.
Well, we have got, of course, the news, Tesla this week, and of course the leading story is what Patrick is going to tell us a little bit about as the earnings call.
Right.
Has just concluded a little while ago.
It did. So anytime that they have these, I always look at the after hours market activity first, because regardless of what they say or how I interpret it, I want to see what the market's doing. So after the call, when I looked at it, the stock was trading up about $8 a share. So that's good news. Musk opened the call with a bombshell.
Oh.
Model S and X will be, as he said, receiving an honorable discharge. So Tesla will cease
as honorable as he can do.
of the Model S and X at the end of Q2. That's it. If you want one, you have until then to get it. They're going to use that space for Optimus. Now, that is something that we had predicted, is that was going to, we knew something drastic was going to happen with them this year, and I desperately wanted that to be that they were going to move it to Austin, and that's not what happened. So goodbye to the S and X. I had an X. Casey currently has an X.
Yes.
They're great rides. I really thought they would keep them around as their flagship vehicles for even a little longer, even if they were low volume. It's their Halo car, the Falcon Wings, the performance of the S. But all good things. Their push is towards autonomy, and those cars don't fit that vision. So they need the space for Optimus.
Yeah, it also sounds like the current Cybertruck is going to join S and X sometime later.
Yes. So later in the call, one of the questions, I think it was a say question, was when Tesla released the Cybertruck, they said if it wasn't a success, that they would make a regular looking truck if that's what the market demanded. So to address that question, they didn't give a specific answer, but they did say that all of their lines are built for flexibility so they could build other vehicles there if they want to. And the Cybertruck line is their most flexible as their most modern production line. So they left the door wide open for a new truck. Although one of the other say questions was, will Tesla have any new vehicles other than the ones we know about? And Musk said the Roadster's coming, but the real push is towards autonomy. Cybercab is their current focus. He did say that they will have other autonomous vehicles in the future, larger ones, and they've shown off the Roboban, although he didn't mention it by name.
As well. Yeah.
Right. So it does not sound like they have a new truck in the works. At least they weren't, launching that today. In fact, so they said, yes, we could, but we have no plans to. At least no public plans to.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. What was the next one? Cybercab Robotaxi FSD. This was Musk talking in his opening remarks. They've removed the safety monitor earlier this month, and as of yesterday, they've removed the chase cars. These rollouts, safety is their top concern. So that's why they had the monitors. That's why they had the chase cars. Now they're to a point where they feel confident that those things are not needed. They are working on the ability for Tesla owners to be able to add or remove their personal vehicles to the robotaxi fleet. And then that was one of the things he made in his opening statements. Later, there was a question about this, and Musk had an interesting statement. He said, every city has a few weird intersections. He said there's one spot in Austin where there's like 26 traffic lights. I don't know if he was exaggerating or not. If you know that one, I want to see a picture, post it on our X feed. And yeah, I know Portland has a few weird intersections where like 3 different streets converge into one spot, and one of them is not quite in the center of the others, and it's all crazy. And he said in those intersections, even human piloted cars have crashes, accidents, whatever you want to call them. And so they are not confident putting people's personal vehicles into the fleet until they have all of those well understood and can navigate them with high levels of confidence. The problem is the other cars are still human piloted. So even if they do everything correct, that doesn't mean that there won't be a crash. So that's tricky. Let's see.
That's what insurance and subrogation is for.
Yes, exactly. That's why you have to have insurance. Yeah, even if you're a perfect driver, you're living in an imperfect world, and no one is a perfect driver. So
yeah, you've got 8 HD cameras focused on the world around you. They'll get their money back.
Right. Yes. So yeah, if the other person made a mistake, yeah, but still, if they're enrolling people's personal vehicles, even if Tesla handles all that, it's still a hassle.
Oh, it's a huge hassle. I can tell you firsthand.
yeah, exactly. That can drag out for years in court if somebody's injured.
Almost a decade.
Yeah, it's no fun at all. Yeah, been there. Don't want to do that again. Full autonomy. They are working toward vehicles in 25 to 50% of the country by the end of the year. Dozens of major cities by the end of the year. So when they say 25 to 50% of the country, they mean by population. So that's large metro areas. And then he started talking about how if they had federal legislation that they could follow and just comply to that, it would be a whole lot easier. But even if they have to go metro by metro, county, city, state to get it done, they still will move forward. So I think that's why they have the 2 numbers, 25 to 50, depending on how the legislation goes there.
And I like the way that they pointed out that if they could get an override versus if they have to go one at a time, and then the percentage of the population they are going to be covering, because it kind of brings them back to where they were at the end of last year, where they were promising to be at X percent of the population, and then
right, they came in significantly lower. It's funny that he has the same 50% of the U.S. population by the end of the year. That's exactly what he said last year. But it's actually now it's 25 to 50 by the end of this year. So, Musk's timelines. Maybe he was thought he was in 2026 when he said that last year.
Maybe. He is an alien.
That's the problem. Most humans think they're still in last year for a while. He has the opposite. Yeah. I know that I've ran into that when I'm doing long-term planning at work, and you're thinking so much about 5 years out, and then you also have to deal with the current thing that's being worked on, and you can get mixed up in time. When am I?
When am I?
When am I? His
non-linear being.
Yes, was that solar and batteries are the best way to meet the growing energy needs for data centers. That one's pretty straightforward and obvious. Optimus 3 will be revealed in a few months. They're going to put in a 1 million unit production line. We talked about how that's going to go where S and X used to be in Fremont. However, the supply chain is nascent. It's much longer than the current vehicle supply lines. So don't expect to see 1 million units this year. Just because they're putting in a 1 million unit production line is going to be a slow ramp before they get to the hockey stick in volume growth.
Well, it also probably going to take them longer to remove the S and X lines than they anticipate, because when you look at GM and Toyota, they couldn't do it before they got rid of the factory. So,
right, and then they have to make parts for at least 5 years. They have to make 5 years worth of parts they can have an inventory for those vehicles. So even when they say, okay, that we've made our last vehicle that we're going to sell, they're still going to have to stamp parts and make all kinds of stuff that they can put in their warehouses for service centers.
Right.
So that might mean they don't even start tearing it down until, even though they can get rid of the general assembly, but they still have to all the rest of this stuff.
Yeah, and then like you said, you gotta stop the line, and so you stop the line, and then everything else around it that might have some inertia to it, and then you can start picking it apart while still meeting those obligations.
Yeah. So this was about Optimus. I want to jump down to something that he said later about Optimus that I thought was pretty good. The question was, how is Optimus better than other humanoid robots? Musk's comment was that China is the biggest competition. We don't see any serious competition outside of China. So sorry to anybody who any of the other companies that he just dissed there. China is often underestimated, and we think Optimus is far ahead of any other humanoid robot that we know of. There are 3 hard things with a humanoid robot. 1 is the hand. 2, real-world AI. And 3 is scaling production. Tesla is the only company with all 3 of those, Musk said. Okay, so we'll go back to the other statements. All right, next up was the CFO. And I just want to run through one. I'm going to skip all the numbers. If you're interested in the numbers, ir.tesla.com. You can pull up their investor deck and see all of the operating cash flow, free cash flow. And the short version here is Tesla is investing a lot and still being profitable. And the weird thing about that for me is that we just heard about how Ford and GM took major billion-dollar write-downs on their EV businesses. So it's the night and day. Tesla is not only making money, they're doing it while they're investing in building Optimus in factories. He said they're doing 6 different factories. This was the CFO talking. Their CapEx spending in 2026 is expected to be on the order of $20 billion. They're working on their lithium refinery, their LFP factory, the Cybercab lines, the iWest building, although he didn't call it that, the Megapacks, and Optimus line we already talked about, as well as AI compute data centers. So this is all while they're also growing and upgrading their current factories and growing and in some places upgrading their existing charging networks. And they have to put out the semi-charging networks this year. So it's amazing to me that Tesla can do all of that and be profitable while other car companies can't even just be profitable. So he did talk about vehicle margins. This was an interesting one to me. So the margins moved up for last year from 15.4% to 17.9%. And the vehicle margins are up and gross profits were flat, even with 16% lower delivery. So they are making more money per vehicle last year than they were the year before. So that's interesting. They are still battery cell constrained, which was interesting because we've heard that before. They said, "Oh, we've fixed the constraint," but now their energy storage business is growing, so they're back to battery cell constrained. FSD adoption
on the batteries. There, he mentioned they're putting 4680s in non-structural packs as well, not just energy.
Yes, correct. Yes, they did mention that. Yeah, bigger cell gets you more kilowatt hours, which is what you want. So FSD adoption is now at 1.1 million, and for their most recent sales, 70% of those were full-out upfront purchases. So that's one of the reasons that provided that margin boost that we talked about. Now, we've also talked about how they're going to subscription only. And when they do that, this margin boost is going to go away. So you can expect a margin drop going forward as they go to subscription. But we'll talk about in an Express show why I think subscription is the right way to go long term. Megapack 3 and Megablock, they have a lower margin. It dropped from 10.5% to 8%, and primarily due to tariffs. So robotaxi revenue was included, although it's not significant. We can see that grow over time. Their gross margin was 20.1%, the highest it's been in 2 years, despite the tariff impacts. Tesla is spending, we talked about $20 billion in CapEx. This was an interesting question. Today, about 90 million cars. I'm not sure if they were saying about 90 million cars are sold each year, I think was the statement. And the question was, what happens to that in 5 years? Lars said that autonomy will change that drastically. Most trips are just 1 or 2 people. And then Musk jumped in and said that's why the robotaxi is that way, why Cybercab is that way, I mean. And then he said, in some states, they are not going to be allowed to use the word taxi or cab. So Cybercab and robotaxi are going to get rebranded. But then to address the question, Cybercab production will be several times higher than their other vehicles combined. So I think there was a comment here that said about 95% of miles driven they expect to be autonomous. So with this shift, you can start thinking of Tesla as a transportation service company more than an automotive company.
Yep.
So
and they said
that's a big change.
He said that he expected the vehicle usage to go from about 18 hours at the most a week.
10 to 12 is a typical. People drive an hour and a half a day, depending.
Yeah, and then he wanted to see it go to what did he say, 68?
60 hours per week was the comment. Oh yeah, so 10 to 12 hours per week, up from that to 50 to 60. So he said Cybercab has to be built to industrial strength standards. It's going to get significantly more, 5 times more use per day. And so it has to be more like a work truck than a luxury vehicle. It has to be something that can be easily cleaned, easily serviced. You can easily tell if you've left something in the vehicle. You don't have a bunch of little pockets and places to stash stuff because it's not your personal vehicle. That was the comment there. And so, you can definitely see they're thinking about autonomy and reinventing Tesla to this new vision.
Yeah. I mean, I see all of that. It just feels like he's jumping the gun a little bit. They can IBM it a little bit on the existing stuff and not necessarily slowly, but like aggressively move stuff over without just, killing the goose. Right.
So that's what they did with SNX. They didn't stop the way. They continued to make them while 3 and Y became the majority of their business. And now it's obvious the market's not really interested in SNX. I mean, that's why we were all saying something has to happen to them this year because the numbers were less than 35,000. So that was, which is way too low. They're not looking to be a low volume luxury niche. They are looking to be the future of transportation, not just some luxury provider. So that's, it's too bad they don't spin out a luxury division and just keep it separate or whatever. But they're not. They're moving on. So next, Ashok started talking. Their head of FSD and AI. I could not hear him. He had a really bad connection.
They still couldn't fix that mic problem at head office, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lars repeated some of what he said, and the gist of it was that Tesla's charging network and their service centers are a big advantage for their robotaxi scale out that other companies don't have. Yeah. And you can't argue with that. You have to be able to recharge cars and you have to be able to service cars. And if you need locations, well, they have properties around the world. So that'll definitely help. And that's, things like Waymo doesn't have that and others don't have that. Not that they can't get it, but it takes time and that slows down scale out.
Tesla's already got employees that are used to all these things, been working on individual customer cars for ages. So
exactly,
it makes a lot of sense that they could utilize those employees and locations.
Right, they'll have all the tools and training and ready to go.
Yep, and they don't need partner enablement. Like Waymo has to wait for whoever's building their vehicle. They have to wait for whoever's assembling their sensors. They have to wait for those people's suppliers to supply them, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean you could do one-offs, but
Yeah,
they're in a good spot.
they are.
Company,
Yes. Here was a speaking of one-offs. Musk said that Tesla expects to grow headcount this year. He said that we know a lot of other people are laying off, but that's not what Tesla expects to do. They have big ambitions. So the next question:
where do you think the extra employees are going?
To the new stuff.
Because if they're dropping some lines,
Right.
you're going to have to reconfigure it at one point. Okay.
Mhm.
But if your car sales are dropping, the only thing is going to be the cab business, and that doesn't seem to be very labor intensive, does it?
Well, so it's those 6 things they said they're spending their $20 billion in capex on. I think that's where the headcount's going to go. And
so AI and the ability to
the machine that builds the machine.
Right, you're building
infrastructure
machines.
play. Yeah. So where was that?
Optimus right now still doesn't look like it. It looks very hand assembled. So
here it is. So I think they're going to be hiring at the lithium refinery, the cathode factory, their LFP battery factory, building out the Cybercab line and Cybercab production. Same with Semi. Same with Megapack, and Optimus, of course.
Optimus.
Yep. So that's where I think their headcount's going to go.
And then,
those
of course, everything
working on S and X are definitely going to land on their feet and find something else at Tesla that needs to be done, because if they're already part of the Tesla culture and working on some of their best vehicles, so of course they're going to be able to find them a new home, I think. Okay, we're getting near the end here. One
of them know that they said that they weren't able to find a use. Is that what you took away from it?
What do you mean?
The comment here from Solo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my notes. I can't see.
Yeah, he says that they've not been able to find a use for Optimus in their factories is concerning.
So I heard that they had them doing small things right now.
Yeah, menial tasks.
Yeah, and you have to start small. I mean, it has to understand the entire world, and they've talked about how Optimus is going to be 10 times harder than FSD. Well, how long did it take for FSD to get to the state where it is today?
That's not a good statement.
10 times harder does not mean 10 times longer. If you listen to Ray Kurzweil, things that go on exponential scales, that's just not how human timeline brains work. We think linearly. So, you get a few doublings in the capabilities, and all of a sudden things are drastically different. The Human Genome Project was one of the things that Kurzweil talks about. Halfway through, they were only about 2% done. And he said, oh, we're right on schedule. And everybody was like, what are you talking about? How could we be 2% in half the time? That's not going to work. And of course, then the hockey stick kicks in. And now the thing that it took them 10 years to do, they can do in 2 hours with sequencing. So, yeah.
I did hear that part about them depreciating them pretty quickly. I didn't again take it as that they weren't doing good work. Just that, hey, we had Model 3 last week. Now we have Model 6 this week, and it's going to do the same job, but hopefully better.
Right. The last one I want to cover was Musk talked a lot about how a lot of these things that Tesla's. If there's another question, yeah.
Andrew says, how will the big family fit in cars? Well, hopefully the Model Y L has a 7-seat option as well, and not just the Model Y, because they're not going to have any other option anytime soon. Although I do kind of see them getting to the end of S and X, and then like the next day saying, "Hey, Austin is going to do a large SUV finally," but I don't see that happening this year, so I don't know how they're going to work that out to
the YL even longer. The LEVL, I don't know.
the X squared. They're training the factories as Optimus is not yet fully ready for meaningful tasks. Optimus is simple tasks now, but not at scale. They're depreciating the older versions as proofs. Yeah.
Also, keep in mind that they haven't even unveiled version 3 yet, which is going to have the different hands. It's going to have the different abilities, and they got to test all that. So you're right. They're just picking very easy things to do to get by and check boxes they can do with version 2. And then after that, they'll move forward with version 3 and see where its limitations are and what they can do with it. And then they'll probably outline some more activities it can do as they start to work on version 4.
Yeah, like you had them, taking 10, 15 minutes to sort a box of batteries, where it would take a human 2 at the most, very slowly. But now you can have 6 of them doing 10 minutes on a box instead of one human doing 2.
And they can work 24/7 or 23/7 with some recharging time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we should talk about the XAI investment.
Oh, that part, yes.
Before the call, Tesla put out a press release saying that they were making, I think it was a $2 billion investment into XAI. So Tesla announced today that they will invest approximately $2 billion into XAI as part of the Series E funding round for XAI. The goal is to boost autonomous driving and robotics capabilities. The partnership includes a framework agreement for collaboration, such as integrating Grok into vehicles and Optimus functionality. So again, that's how you improve Grok. You have an even bigger AI behind it that can help it figure out just like path planning, right? So if I didn't understand this command, I can ask Big Brother, help me figure out what this means, instead of trying to do everything on inference if it's connected and it has a back end that it can offload to. And of course, eventually you want to not be dependent on that. But in the beginning, if you have limited capability locally, so like with driving, you have to have an inference chip that can make millisecond decisions. You can't wait for it to call home and come back. With the humanoid robot, if it takes 5 seconds to respond instead of 2 milliseconds, then fine. That doesn't make a whole lot of difference for the bot. It's a very different safety level requirement for humanoid robots than it is for vehicles. So they can do a lot of different things with it.
You'll still need some inference. You don't want it. Okay. It takes 5 seconds to start the task, but you don't want it to let a hot iron beam build up in the middle of the shop and then set it on fire.
Exactly. Yeah. You want the majority of it to be able to be local and self-figured out, and then only the hard problems go up to the mothership.
Yeah.
And then over time,
maybe it downloads the manual for the machine and watches. I know kung fu. It watches the instructions for how to do the task, and then it can go local real time there.
And just like with FSD, right? We had us human supervisors, and every time we disengaged, that was an opportunity for them to take that as a training moment. The same thing here. Every time it gets a command from a human, and it has to say, "I don't know what this means." That's that whole situation. All the sensors from the camera, the recent voice command that I heard, can all go into new training to say, in this kind of situation, here's the result we want. So this is it's sort of like disengagements.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the last point I want to make here, Musk said, he quoted Andy Grove saying, "Only the paranoid survive." He said, "There's a lot of wisdom in that statement." So geopolitical risks are real. Tesla is building the lithium refinery in Corpus Christi, their cathode fab, the Terafab, and the Terafab is going to be doing more than just their AI 6, 7, 8 chips. It's going to be doing memory and packaging as well, so they can make full solutions. And they want to make sure that if there's some geopolitical issues, some force majeure, some supply chain, it doesn't take them offline, that they can continue, Tesla can continue to grow and thrive even under adverse conditions.
Some of that seems cool. Like a cell phone, the fact that some of these conditions exist. But, what do I know? so
why did I shoot it? Oh!
So, 3 years, does that sound reasonable if they get something that's already been in operation and try to reset it back up as a fab? I know that whoever bought the DDR4 factory is going to take until the middle of next year to get the DDR4 back online. But
He
this
did
is
mention
kind
that
of different than
Micron's
that.
building a memory. I don't know if it's in Ohio, right?
Yeah, 'cause you said about the potato chips, not to do to computer chips. Not like we have never heard that joke before, but
Yeah. I have a bag of Intel potato chips around here somewhere.
Extra crunchy.
Yeah, it actually says number one chip maker in the world. It's a little funny thing. Good times. Well, there
so
you have
that is quite a lot of brand new news that was revealed at the earnings call.
There'll be
the S and the X still kind of surprised me because it's
you knew it was coming, but like that.
It's something that I kind of I wonder this move to autonomy, which Musk has been trumpeting now for over a year, that he's been saying that you're not concentrating on the right thing. Autonomy is where it's going. That's where we're going.
But you can do both, buddy. You got
that's what I don't understand. Is that once why would you not bet on both when company does have the bandwidth to handle both?
Right, and then once you've mastered the cab or you get the approvals, just stop making Model Y, and boom, that's all Cybercab.
But why didn't they keep pressing on making a $40,000 car that could open up new markets to Tesla and even larger markets? Did they determine that, we could probably never make the amount of batteries we're going to need? We could never get it. Maybe that's the issue, is that we can bring in all we can, but we would be struggling trying to do it, and we'd be disappointing people because we're not putting out as much as what we would want to do. I'm shooting, nothing here, but I'm trying to search for the reason as to why.
He's so used to going all in, but this time he doesn't have to go all in. He can do 50% down and just roll.
The money is in the bank and continues to be in the bank every quarter. So I don't understand why they can't do both. They do have the bandwidth, they do have the money, they do have the engineering experience, and they have the facilities to do it.
Yeah.
So and that's why I thought it would move to Austin and combine with Cybertruck. If that is their flexible line, if you move S and X over to that new cyber architecture with ether loop and 40 volt, you can keep it low volume. You could have all three of those vehicles on one line. Oh well.
Yeah, and then Lee brings up a good point. Legacy manufacturers will go down fighting, having material impacts on Tesla. I was having a discussion earlier in the week about energy, about how the portable market has kind of come right up to the edge of where you need automotive grade batteries and safety controls, but they won't step over it. And I made the comment that because Tesla, GM, and Ford would eat their lunch even if they're not trying to actually be in the market. And the response was, they who wants to go from being a big fish in the Taiwanese pond to fighting those three, even if it's just like their second string. But GM and Ford could still make it uncomfortable for Tesla to try and just exit before this is here. So the sustainability of the sustainable abundance, I see that being profitable for the company, but how is that going to work in the real world? I don't see that working in the real world.
It's a long-term vision. If anybody can have bots do whatever for them, whatever it is you want, you can have it make it, and that's the vision.
But is he saying that Tesla's going to do that, or is he just saying that we're going to do what we can until that day comes? Or
I think the idea is that Tesla's products enable that. So solar and batteries for your energy needs, Optimus for your labor needs, and Cybercabs for your transportation needs.
And the solar in space. So obviously it sounds like they're going to go back to making their own solar at scale again. for both terrestrial and then I don't understand the space part of it all. Is solar not a commodity, or is it just because we don't make enough of it here in the States? They want to try it again? I'm confused by that one.
Yeah, solar in space does not make a lot of sense to me. So there are a couple demo projects now that are looking to put solar in space, beam it down via microwaves to these collector antenna, which there's plenty of spots here on the ground that are not covered in solar panels. We've got massive deserts and rooftops and carports and all kinds of things that solar could go on before you have to start putting it into space.
Well, it sounded like the in space part wasn't for collection, but for AI data centers in space.
Right. So AI data centers in space, that one I'll take the counterpoint on. So collecting energy and then beaming it back, I think is ridiculous. But sending up data, having it processed, sending back the result. Right now, so data centers use a lot of power. They use a lot of water for cooling, and that's because they're using evaporative cooling. There's other ways, but that's one of the cheapest, easiest ways to do it, even if it devastates the groundwater supply in that area. So it's certainly not good. So that one I'll support because again, you're not trying to collect and beam the energy. You're just doing the data and having all the processing happen in space. If you have your data center up there, it's not causing impacts to your local grid. It's not causing impacts to your local water supply. I think space is a great place for data centers eventually. I would argue that right now we could do a lot in the Sahara and have data centers there instead, and you can collect a lot of energy. You can use cooling that doesn't use water. If you have abundant energy, you can do that, and with heat pumps and other methods. And the nights are cold, so you could even do like ice blocks that are frozen overnight, and then that is used to cool the data centers during the day. So there's lots of options here on Earth that we're not. Space is eventually where it needs to go, but again, just like with solar, we have places we can put them here that are going to be whole lot cheaper to deploy than in space, even with SpaceX's low cost to orbit prices.
The other interesting part of it, the SpaceX component of it, is that you don't have to beam it down to Earth. You can just get it into the Starlink net, and it might not need to actually hit the ground for a bunch of it, depending on what's up there.
Right. Yeah. The Starlink will be the backbone for Starthink. Starthink is their data centers, and it just connects in. So you have that communication network already existing. It's definitely the best way for them to do that.
Just call it Cyberdyne. Get it over with.
I do want to comment on what Derek put in the chat. Thank you, Derek. He said, Mark, you are correct. They have all those resources, but they need focus on less than more to continue. And I have to say, I understand the point, Derek, but I really believe that once they've got the nut cracked on electric vehicles, which they obviously have, you don't need to put as much think into that business. Yes, you have to come up with a car once every 4 years or something along that line, but you do not have to reinvent the wheel over and over again. You don't have to put a lot of thought process into it. You can follow the lines that have already been laid out ahead of that's already happened in the past, and you can run a very successful business by just upping the volume, the quantity of those vehicles, as long as you keep in the guardrails of what was successful in the past.
I'd argue you don't even need to make a new car every 4 years. I mean, the Model S is going out at 16, 18 years old, and Model X is going out at 12.
Well, no, they've done refreshes on them, and you have to otherwise. Yeah. So the best way to make sure you don't rest on your laurels is just throw your laurels away.
That's pretty. And that's what's going on. Absolutely. That's what's going on.
Which is the focus to the future.
I would think, as Casey mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that probably makes sense maybe to have a little bit of an insurance policy before you throw the laurels out the door, because you never know what's going to happen. Especially look at the past 3 years, the craziness that has ensued as we were expecting 2 million vehicles a year, still hasn't been achieved, and doesn't look like it's going to.
Yeah. But and Musk even said a little bit of himself. He said, if I don't get enough chips, you can put some steering wheels in the cars and drive them yourself. But Optimus is a mannequin. It's like, well, okay,
yes.
you see it.
Yeah, that was an interesting. The reason they're building out their AI training data centers, it's in their plan, and making their own chips is because without those things, Optimus is just an expensive mannequin. That was a funny statement.
Heavy too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Patrick, for that summary of what happened just a few hours ago. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Wanted to touch on a couple of other stories.
You can tell it was a good one the way I kept interjecting, because normally I'm like, all right, and then I have some notes.
The Boring Company has announced its newest station that's come online, and this is at the Fontainebleau Resort. And this is, of course, something that many have looked forward to because it's starting to connect more of the properties around the Las Vegas Convention Center, which of course will connect to the spine that goes to the airport. So this Fontainebleau Resort is on the far north end of Las Vegas Boulevard. And so this will be the first property that is connected. The Boring Loop is now on the Strip. So just I can share an actual photo of the map, the updated map here. Let's do that.
So now they're going to be open outside of conferences?
So yeah, it's this loop now connects with of course, the original, just the convention center. But now you see they've broken off to Resorts World initially. We've got Encore, we've got the Fontainebleau and Westgate Station. So this north part of the loop is then connected to this spine that runs down to terminals 1 and 3 currently. And we'll continue to pick up some other sites along this route into towards the airport.
Those two properties on the left, do they have a direct connection, or do they have to go the long way?
Oh, it looks like you do have to go the long way, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to connect.
We'll meet you for drinks. Let's meet somewhere in the middle instead.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's good news that it is continuing, and just a couple of photos to share. That's what the Fontainebleau looks like.
So is this underground, or is it like down in the parking lot?
The photo here shows an escalator.
So underground.
I'm assuming it's underground.
That's one cool looking escalator. Reminds me of both Optimus and the diner.
Yeah.
They have a style for sure.
And there it is at night. The Fontainebleau is a luxury resort, so it's on the upper scale.
Okay.
So good news there. Another bit of information was about Tesla releasing quietly a new AI version or new hardware version. Version 4.5 has now been spotted on Model Ys that are being delivered. And the Green the Only, after getting this information, went hunting, and he believes that there's a possibility that this system, the 4.5, actually has 3 chips in it as opposed to 2 major chips as the old version did.
Whoa.
So it's sharing the 3rd chip possibly or doing special compute formulas on certain tasks, but it is something that hasn't happened before. So we know that AI 5 is in the works, that they're working on that, but that's still probably a year away before it gets into actual cars.
Oh, before cars.
The production of the chips and stuff will start apparently sometime in late spring. Yeah. But we're looking a little while for it to actually get onto a board, and it looks like Tesla required extra compute and decided to modify the current board and use the existing technology with an extra chip.
The extra chip also sounds pretty cool in that we know it works from space. You have a quorum, and if 2 of them agree, you can go ahead and proceed. In fact, our accelerator pedals work this way now. If you've got 3 sensors, and if 2 of them agree, you can go ahead and do it. And if one of them does something, actually the third one on our pedals is actually the inverse of what the other 2 are. And so if they all 3 agree, it's easy. But if one of them starts throwing something weird, then it's easy to catch. And
I've seen Minority Report. I know what he's talking about.
That too as well. Yes. The other benefit is like you were saying, Mark. If you can use it for extra stuff now, but then if for some reason one of the chips does have a failure, you can then repurpose that one, especially if it's a system that's running with nobody in it. You can't throw it to the user if they're asleep or if it's running empty.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
if they're in the backseat.
For safety critical systems, you want redundancy. And what's the phrase? One backup is no backups.
That's right.
Yeah. So you have to have 2 backups before you have any backups. And especially if you have 3 things, if you have just 2 and you get different answers, how do you know which one got it wrong? You have nothing else to decide that. So you kind of just have to say, oh, something went wrong, stop. But if you have 3, then you can say, oh, okay, this one gave us a wrong answer. These 2 gave us the same answer. So those 2 must be right. This third one has a problem, report the error and get it serviced. And then you can continue to use 2. But I don't know if that's what this is. I don't know if this is about just redundancy or if they needed extra compute or if they're doing shadow mode on there or if they're, I don't know what they're using.
Or is it the new architecture that AI5 will include 3 chips?
Yeah. Practice it now and then they'll be ready when it comes out.
Or do they have some AI5 primitives that they want to test out on AI4 hardware in a simulated kind of way? You can emulate if you have some newer instruction, you can emulate it on older hardware often. So they might be doing something like that to prep for AI5 native code.
Yeah, so they're obviously they're not telling us what it's for.
Exactly.
It's just that the hardware has been noticed that when you look on your Tesla screen, the new people getting vehicles are noticing that they've got the AI5 as well as some of them are getting the larger 16-inch screen has been installed. So they're getting these things added to it. I will also note that there are no windshield washer fluids on the cameras as of yet that we've seen in the test fleet of robo-taxis that are out there. That has not made it to the consumer side of things at this point.
Even with this new hardware.
Even with this new hardware, right?
Lee is pointing out that you can tell for sure by looking at the sticker on the glove box, but you can also look for the 16-inch screen and look for the cameras to be more bonded, kind of like on mine. I've never had to clean mine, but the old ones, they had it was kind of open on the bottom, so that made the cleaning a lot easier to do.
Right, so they've sealed the camera to the front windshield more to avoid the glare issue that's been coming with some vehicles that have produced a little bit of a gaseous fog on the inside that's caused issues and required a number of cars to be cleaned.
Precision cleaned. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So interesting. We'll have to see if how that continues. And then if that's not enough things that are changing, Tesla also announced this week that Autopilot is going to be removed from all vehicles going forward. If you have Autopilot already, don't worry. It's not going anywhere. It remains with your car and remains active. But going forward, newer vehicles, Autopilot is going to be not part of the suite of software that comes with the vehicles. And on top of that, as we've mentioned cautiously previously, Elon has said that FSD subscription price will go up based on its capabilities in the future. So he's clearly signaling that the $99 fee that is being charged for it currently is not what it will remain at. And in fact, it's up to Tesla to pick what that price will be based on the capabilities they believe the car has at that time. It may even be before or after when unsupervised is actually reached. But he just wanted to make that clear. And we had called this several times previously that we believe that the $99 fee for leasing or renting the software is something that Tesla would move based on what they felt like at that time.
Yeah, if you're going to keep your car for a while, it's worth considering purchasing FSD before Valentine's Day, because then you're insulated from this.
And you get hardware 4.5 or AI 4.5.
On your existing cars.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
And also, I think at the same time, I haven't confirmed this, but I heard that at least one location, all of the inventory cars have autopilot removed, so you have to get FSD either as a purchase or as a lease.
So
rental.
if they're removing autopilot and you don't buy FSD, then you get traffic aware cruise control, and that's it. Is that
Yep.
true?
All for safety.
Right. So that doesn't.
So that does give you the ability to put it in cruise control, and it would determine a vehicle in front of you still or not.
Yes. Traffic aware cruise control means that it does slow down if the traffic in front of you slows down.
If they don't alter the deal further, I can totally see them saying
alter the deal further.
Exactly. I can totally see them saying, "All right, not enough of you signed up for FSD subscriptions, so we're going to remove traffic aware cruise control for anyone who doesn't already own a car." And now what are you going to do? You get dumb cruise. Let's go. And then they can go one more, and just you don't get cruise unless you have FSD.
Their safety record if they did that, and I don't think they want to do that.
But what's the difference between current autopilot right now and traffic aware cruise control? What does autopilot give you extra besides the ability to keep a buffer between you and the car in front of you when you're in cruise control?
Lane in the lane, and it also helps if you divert from the lane or any number.
But I thought you couldn't divert with the lane with autopilot. You couldn't leave the lane. As soon as you left the lane, it disengaged it.
Right, but if it sees you just drifting, the safety catch can still operate.
Keeping you in the lane.
Yeah.
So you can think of traffic aware cruise control as handling the pedals, whereas autopilot also does lane following, whereas FSD does everything, right? So autopilot doesn't understand stop signs or traffic lights or any of that stuff.
Okay, so Leah's saying it does do lanes. It does keep you in the lane for sure. Okay. Beta lane keeping.
It has lane keeping assist, but it's not not auto steer. Right. Good.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say.
Else's cars
you said it better.
Yeah. So at this point,
that's kind of interesting that, and of course we know that Musk's new pay package is based on him converting people to FSD. Percentages are part of his deal. That
it looks like a pay plan
compensation.
Deal. Yeah, that's all it looks like to me. But so at this point we've got two things to do if you don't want to purchase it outright, either because you buy cars too often or you were hoping that they wouldn't raise the price too much, is to hope that the others get this thing and they do a decent enough job to make it worth it. You've got Comma AI, you've got Rivian, you've got whatever's left of the Super Cruise and whatever's left of Blue Cruise. And the reason I say it that way is Ultra Cruise is gone and the Super Blue Cruise is gone. So.
And for those interested to see what else is out there, Brian White for Futuraza is going to be publishing a video shortly about Xpeng and their vision-based FSD version that they're putting out, and it's quite impressive, especially with its operation in China. The roads are a lot different there, and wait till that comes out. Keep your eyes open on the Futuraza channel for that to be released soon.
And that also plays right into what Musk was saying, where he's afraid of China, or not afraid, but concerned with. They're the only competition. Boom, there it is again.
They have great manufacturing capability. They have great engineering. If you're underestimating them, you're doomed. So you said that it is probably part of Musk's pay package, this realignment, and I agree with that. But I think the other part of it might be that there were some lawsuits over the term autopilot.
Yeah, they renamed it already to auto steer.
And right, so if you move away from autopilot and instead you have supervised and unsupervised, those are clear. So I think that is part of what's happening here too.
It certainly eliminates that issue of the name autopilot because it's been removed. But, but yes, I think that's secondary, but yes, a valid point. Well, the other thing I wanted to just touch on is if autopilot, if FSD goes up in price as time goes along, I gotta believe that there are limits that some people would say there is for a monthly subscription fee. If you, for example, went to 150, if you, for example, went to 200 or 250, I think that Tesla is going to be feeling as to what the market will bear for quite some time going forward, depending on how aggressive they want to be with this. But I don't know. I just think that even though it's wonderful, it's unsupervised, you can sleep while the car drives. I think that this could be something that they have to be careful with when it comes to price increases, because they will lose people. Because yes, you may want to do that with your vehicle where it drives you a percentage of the time, but I think with most people, the percentage of time is going to be lower, of course, depending on what they do with their car. But a number of vehicles out there are going to be, something where you'd love to have it on a long trip, or you'd like to have the ability if you're pulling an all-nighter and you got to get somewhere. But how often is that happening? Will people try to jump in and buy it for a month and then jump out, or jump in for a quarter? Will Tesla put in roadblocks to prevent that type of thing going forward? That you have to sign up for a year or things of that nature. That's all possible. So this is going to be the Wild West for some time. So
absolutely. I just looked at my vehicle. About 2/3 of the vehicle of miles are with FSD. So that tells you how much I use it.
Mine doesn't tell me, but it's high.
I don't know. You might go look, because it's a relatively new feature, that reporting. In fact, I saw someone post theirs, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had that. And I went and looked, and I did. So maybe you have it too and haven't looked. But it only tells you for the current version, not like the whole lifetime. So if you get a new version, it resets a new version.
And
of FSD.
Derek just echoes that testament. Higher price and we make him unsubscribe. So there are people with limits, and I know that Brian from Futuraza had made the point that he's got it on one car, but he can't afford to put it on two cars. Yeah. So if the price goes up, there are limits. It's not just wide open, even though it can be your personal chauffeur. Yeah. And some of the bulls out there are saying, well, how much does the chauffeur cost?
Yeah.
That's
I don't currently have a chauffeur,
because no one's going out to buy a chauffeur or pay a chauffeur anyways. So that is going to be interesting going forward.
And I'm not going to say it's a legacy thing. It might just not be in my version of the software, but it doesn't tell me anywhere. Yeah. So the other thing is at this point though, whenever I see the writing on the wall, I'm going to want to go out and purchase a Model Y and subscribe to FSD, because it'll be too late to buy it. Unless I find one that's already got it on there.
Yeah. Because of course the end of the line for purchasing FSD is the 15th of next month. So February 15th is the limit.
That's what I was thinking, Brian. Brian was like, "How many Starbucks do you think people actually are buying?" Because I was just like, "How can I drink less than 0? Like maybe 3 a year."
Get a thirsty goose and let's let it keep driving.
With that said, we will move on to shout outs. Casey, what do you got for us?
Well, we've got our Express shows coming up. We got an exciting batch of them today. You want to make sure your bell is on to see if you get any surprise ones. And then on Sunday, you can catch us over at Let's Chat with Casey and Friends. And who knows who the friends are this week. We had Brian last one, and that was a blast. So
very good. Patrick?
As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog daily at carswithcords.net, where I write about my future free from fossil fuels. And we are going to have a little more in-depth on one of our Express shows about this topic, about what is the future for FSD. So make sure you ring the bell and get that coming up.
Yeah.
Very good. With that said, we thank everyone for being here. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on the video. Press that subscribe button. It helps us out immensely. Doesn't cost you anything. We appreciate everyone in the chat room conversing with us. Derek, Brian, Lee Moon was with us as usual. Dream Tanks, Solo. Who else was with us? Just going through the list here. Anders from Europe. Thanks very much for being with us.
Yeah.
We will catch you all next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla life.
Stay positive. Test negative.
Thanks, Lee, for the music.
I thought the wave I got a sleeping baby in the other hand. Oh, we got 3 more chats. Let's get them in before we close it. Oh, that's true.
Thanks, JT.